Everyone's been saying it'll take years for the Dubai real estate market to recover after everything that was going on in the Middle East. But while the conflict was in its hottest phase, there were two groups of Dubai areas that were still generating serious money for their investors. So yeah, the overall market took a hit, but these communities prove that there is still plenty of opportunity no matter the conflict. So today I'm breaking down each of those areas and showing you the data that explains why they kept performing, so you can keep your investments profitable even when the market's down. Starting with the first group, and I'm gonna tell you about 3 areas, and all 3 of them have one thing in common, and this thing is the main factor why they kept performing. You can try to guess this factor by yourself, but a small hint, it's not that they are affordable. So let's take a look at the data for the first area, and for many people, this area is a nothing special area. But let's look at this chart. It shows the average price per square foot in this area. We take into account ready properties only, and we're looking through 2 periods. The red one is 12 weeks after the conflict started. The blue one is also 12 weeks before the conflict. So by looking at historical data and at recent data, you can see that there is a certain normal range. And the thing with this area is that no matter the situation, the prices remained in the normal range. They didn't drop, and unlike some other communities, in this area prices remain stable. And we can see the same trend when we look at rental prices. Those who renewed their contracts stayed at the same rental rates. And if you think that many people might have just stopped renting the units and moved out, that's not the case. We run the sanity check and see that actual rental volume is also in the normal range. This area is Arjan. And at the first glance, it might be not really obvious why this area is so resilient. It's not such a unique area. It's not the top 5 place to live in Dubai. There is no much greenery there, there is no big mall, most of the buildings are pretty average, no lagoons, no beach, no metro. So why? If you think about the resident profile for this area, these are people who are budget cautious. They own a car, they drive to work to different areas, and their work can be in Business Bay, and Business Bay roughly 20 minutes from Arjan. Or they might drive to Marina, which is 15 minutes away. If they want to go to the beach, GBR is 20 minutes away. If they need to go shopping, Mall of the Emirates is not far, and there is also a mall in GVC. So it's an okay location to live in. But where could Arjan residents move? Just theoretically. Well, an average Arjan resident who is renting a 1-bedroom pays 72,000 dirhams per year. If we look at the better alternatives nearby, all of them are pretty expensive. A similar 1-bed in Dubai Marina would be 90,000 dirhams. An average 1-bed in GLT is 80,000 dirhams per year. And if someone decides to move to GVC, which is, I don't know why would they do that, then even there the price for a 1-bedroom apartment is higher. An average is 75,000 dirhams per year. So even now, there are no better options for similar money in the areas nearby. And if we look into other areas that are cheaper, then they're in a completely different part of the city, like Dubai Land or Silicon Oasis. So because tenants don't really have anywhere to move, they stay in their apartments, and landlords get stable cash flow. Arjan is one of the best areas in Dubai for renting out. Average gross rental yields are between 7 and 8% depending on the size. That's a pretty good yield, and the cash flow is stable, so the property owners in Arjan, they don't have an urge to sell, because apartments there are great cash-generating assets. And there is another affordable area I want to talk about, and it shares a common trait with Arjan, which makes it so resilient. I'll walk you through all the details in a moment, but for those who want to do their own research and check out different areas, see their historical performance, their rental rates, their historical price growth, and compare that to their recent performance after the war started, we developed a new tool. It's an interactive map. You can click on any Dubai area and get the most important information to make an informed investment decision. We've been using it internally, but now we're sharing it with everyone, with clients and brokers, so if you want to get it, you can scan the QR code or click the link below the video. Now let's discuss the second resilient area in the first group. And let me show you the chart right away. This is the ready sales data, the average price per square foot. So almost every week after the conflict started, the prices were in the normal range, and now they actually are at the top of the historical range. Rentals also look good, pretty normal prices, don't mind the fluctuations because this is an area with both old and newer buildings. So this area is interesting because people who live there, they live there because it's super convenient for their work and also for their studies. First, it's a free zone for tech companies. So many IT companies and startups, they have offices there. It's kinda like a tech office hub, and those people who work there, they prefer to live nearby. Also, this area is not that far from downtown, but it's actually far. If you take a look at the map, it's deep into the desert, but the road connectivity is so good that it takes you just 20 minutes to get downtown. And the second group of residents that form the demand are those who study nearby. This area is right across the road from Academic City. Academic City is the main Dubai's educational hub. Dozens of universities, several pretty good schools, so students who are studying in Academic City, they live in this area nearby. This area is Dubai's Silicon Oasis, and those factors we just talked about, they create a stable rental demand. Also, an important thing is that this area will get an even better transport accessibility. In 2029, it's expected to get its own metro station. So now it's a convenient area if you have a car, but later on you'll be able to use the public transportation. And as we discussed several minutes ago, Silicon Oasis is an affordable area. Compare Silicon Oasis to other office hubs, and it's much cheaper. For example, it's 3 times cheaper than Business Bay. But Business Bay didn't do equally well during the recent months. It doesn't have this special factor that unites the areas in the first group. If you haven't still figured out what factor is that, let's talk about the next area. It's also an office hub. Prices are 1.5x compared to Silicon Oasis. And let me show you the price graph right away. It did really well during the conflict. During the last 12 weeks, prices were stable throughout the whole period. It's not just the sales prices. Renewal rental rates were actually pretty good too. And what's unusual is that for most of the period, new rental prices haven't dropped too. Last 3 weeks are negative, but what you should know is that almost every area in Dubai took a hit in terms of new rental prices and new rental demand in general. So the reason behind this area doing well isn't the source of demand. Residential demand in this area comes from 2 different sources. First one is DMCC professionals. The area I'm talking about is GLT, and GLT is a commodity trading free zone. Gold traders, oil traders, they work in GLT and they live in GLT. And given that GLT is now getting higher quality housing, they're fine there. But the second resident group that generates demand is different. Those are budget cautious, mostly young, white-collar expats. Those who work in the offices in Dubai. They work in Business Bay, but they either can't afford or don't want to live in Business Bay. Marina is above their budget. But Marina is just across the road, and Business Bay, they can get to Business Bay by metro, because GLT has a metro station. So for them, this location works great in terms of work commute and in terms of budget. But GLT is also great in terms of lifestyle. Marina has a ton of cafes, barbershops, beauty salons, whatever you need, you can get it there. Right next to Marina there is GBR, probably the most vibrant area of Dubai. So during the colder months, GLT residents can get to GBR beach in maybe 30 or 40 minutes walking. And now let's look at alternatives. An average one bed in GLT rents for 80,000 dirhams per year. Marina is 15% more expensive. Business Bay is 20% more expensive. Other areas that are not that far, like Al Furjan or Discovery Gardens, they're worse for these type of residents in terms of lifestyle. So people who live in GLT, they basically have no choice. And this is the key factor that unites all 3 areas that we just discussed. Think about it. If you're budget cautious, you need public transportation, and you want a good lifestyle that you can get by going across the road to Marina, GLT is your only choice. If you work in a company based in Silicon Oasis, or you study in Academic City, then the only choice you have is Silicon Oasis and Dubai Land Residence Complex. If you need a relatively central, livable location at the minimum budget, You have no other choice than Arjan. And areas like that, they're resilient in all market cycles. These areas generate stable cash flow. But the downside is that you shouldn't expect rapid value growth. If your goal is getting something that will grow in value quickly, you should go for other types of areas. And if you're looking for support in this journey, you can reach out to us. I bet you can tell from our videos that we take a different approach. We analyze the data, run all the numbers, and help our investors make informed investment decisions. To learn more about what we do, you can scan the QR code, click the link below the video, or just directly message us. The WhatsApp link is in the description. Now let's discuss the second group of resilient areas. And the reason why they made the list and why they were combined in this group is completely different compared to what we just discussed. I would even say is the opposite one. And the first area in this group was covered in the news, so it's especially interesting what was going on with its prices. And prices in this area were pretty stable. This chart shows the sales prices. Again, these are ready properties only. And almost every week of the post-conflict period, except just 2 weeks, the prices were in the normal range. You can notice that they are slightly lower compared to the peak, but they're roughly at the same level as in the first half of December. Rental demand was pretty stable too, both in terms of volume and rates. So what's remarkable about this area is the target resident group. And if you think about it, there are people who value certain lifestyle, and there are people who value convenience. Residents who live in this area, they're looking for both. This area is Creek Harbor, and let me first walk you through the resident perspective, and then the landlord perspective or the property owner perspective. So convenience-wise, Creek Harbor is a pretty good area. Not the best one, but it's just 15 minutes from downtown, 5 minutes from Festival City Mall, and it has the most important things inside the community. A couple of nurseries, a medical clinic, several grocery shops, etc. But at the same time, that's one of the most inspirational areas in Dubai. And I'm talking from experience. I lived in Creek Harbor for a couple of years, and in my opinion, lifestyle there is unmatched. Views are great. In my personal ranking, these are probably the best views in Dubai. Water views, skyline views, sunset views, falcons, storks, and other wild birds flying, and you can see them right from your balcony. So in terms of the scenery, that's an amazing place. But it's also very walkable, and you can also walk from the peninsula to the Creek Beach part of the community that is across the canal. Also, Creek Harbor has a lot of cafes and restaurants. They're modern and they're really good. So residents who live in Creek Harbor, they struggle to find another place to live in Dubai, because it's great on so many levels. But there is also a property owner's perspective, and they of course take into account that there is a significant rental demand now. But what's even more important is that Creek Harbor has huge development plans. More than half of the community is not built yet. There is gonna be a huge mall, a Creek Tower, a couple of metro stations. So those who own real estate in Creek Harbor, especially those units that are next to the water, they wait for the area becoming even more demanded and for the prices to go up. And in a way, the situation in Creek Harbor is similar to another area nearby, Shoba Heartland. Shoba Heartland is not the strongest area in terms of value appreciation and price resilience, but it's actually pretty demanded among tenants. So even in the post-conflict period, both rental prices and rental demand volumes stayed at the same level. People didn't move out, they stayed in their properties, they stayed in the area. And again, it all comes down to the end-user profile, who actually lives in properties in Shoba Heartland. Many of them are families, so for them it's a super convenient area, not far from Business Bay, just 15 minutes drive. There are nurseries in the community, there are schools there, it's pretty walkable, several small parks, dog parks, paddle tennis courts, so generally it's a pretty livable place. For landlords, again, it's about the future. They've been waiting for long, but now it seems that lagoon construction works are finally back. And there is finally a chance that one of the main features and the view enhancer of the community will be completed soon. However, Shoba Heartland is 99% apartments. Creek Harbor is also apartments. there are also villa areas that showed the same trend. So let's take a look at the next one. And it's a mixed area. It has both apartments and villas, but now let's focus on villas. Over the last 12 weeks, we saw a pretty stable performance in terms of sales prices. Rental rates were still in the normal range, but on the lower end. There were cases of people slightly renegotiating their rent, but it's also driven by the fact that prices were pretty high before the conflict started. And let me tell you about this area, and you'll quickly figure out what I'm talking about and why this area did well. It's in the center of the city. Literally the geographical center. 15 minutes to Dubai Marina, 20 minutes to downtown, 15 minutes to the beach. But also it has an amazing infrastructure, a very big hospital, a couple of very highly rated schools, and a huge mall with more than 700 shops. And finally, it's a very walkable community. A lot of green belts, long walkable green belts in the villa and townhouse areas, and a huge park in the area with apartment buildings. Of course, I'm talking about Dubai Hills, and it's not like residents of Dubai Hills have no other choice. There are plenty of villa and townhouse communities in Dubai. Let's say you live in Maple. Maple townhouses are definitely not perfect townhouses, so people could be easily moving from here to Tilal Al Ghaf. Similar townhouses there are cheaper. And after the conflict started, roughly for the same money, you could get a bigger semi-detached villa there, 4 or even 5 bedroom. And Tilal Al Ghaf is a much newer community. Everything is brand new, houses are newer, and some believe are better quality. You have several cafes there, a medical clinic, a supermarket. In Maple or Cedar in Dubai Hills there are no grocery shops, but people still stay there because they are too comfortable to move. Many villa and townhouse residents don't go to the office every day. They definitely don't go to the beach every day. And it's not like Dubai Marina is their favorite place. But when you want to go to any of those places, you're close. You're also close to dozens of schools and nurseries in Jumeirah. You don't have to go shopping every day, but whenever you want, right at your doorstep is arguably the best shopping mall for residents. So all these 3 places we discussed, like villa and townhouse sub-communities in Dubai Hills, Creek Harbor, Shoba Heartland, all of them are too comfortable for their residents to move out from. For this class of residents, it's not about the price. They could find other places, in some ways better places for less money. But everything is too convenient for them to give it up. And these are the areas that showed the most resilience during the recent tensions. However, if you asked me about the best areas to invest in Dubai, my answer could be different. Check out this video to learn about them.